Fantasy sports operators FanDuel and DraftKings have been ordered to shut down in New York State. In letters to each company, New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman said on Tuesday that daily fantasy sports constitute illegal gambling under New York law, and that they are creating the same public and economic health concerns as other forms of gambling, including addiction. Several other states have previously said daily fantasy sports amounts to gambling, but this marks the first time that fantasy sports operators have been formally accused of criminal activity.
The federal law makes a distinction, of course, between games of skill and games of chance. It allows games of skill, wagering for games of skill, whereas games of chance, it doesn't allow those. So what they said was these fantasy games are games of chance. You're relying on the performances of players. You can't control that. Therefore, it should be disallowed under New York State law.
Schneiderman did say that New York City-based FanDuel would be able to operate in the state as long as it does not accept cash from New York State residents. Both companies can formally appeal the ruling, but were quick to respond in the media on Tuesday, with FanDuel saying in a statement that this is a politician telling hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers they are not allowed to play a game they love. He decided a game that has been around for a long time is suddenly now not legal. FanDuel and DraftKings first caught the attention of authorities in October when a DraftKings employee admitted he prematurely released sensitive data from the site's biggest contest. While in separate gameplay, he won $350,000 on the competing FanDuel website. Schneiderman's ruling only affects daily fantasy sports and not fantasy games that are played over the course of a season, such as those hosted online by ESPN and CBS Sports.
Those types of games do require a certain amount of skill. You've got to be very diligent about which players are up for grabs, and you've got to orchestrate trades, etc. With the daily fantasy sports, which are the subject of this letter that was issued yesterday, you have less of that. You basically pick a roster, and depending on how those players do over the course of a Sunday, if we're talking about the NFL, you just pick a bunch of players. If they do well on Sunday, you win. If you don't do well on Sunday, you lose. There's a little bit less skill involved, and Schneiderman, I think, is making a big deal of that distinction.